All right, so I'm once again here with my friend Ashley.
And by popular request, our friend Whiskey.
Yes, she brought her whiskey. There was many comments made about that.
Yeah, for good cause.
Yes, it's a survival tool.
Yeah.
So we thought that we needed to just update you guys all on what's going on here in Ecuador. Today being the big day that the indigenous made it to Quito, all of them, and had their riots and tried to, take down the president. So actually, Ashley, well, we've both been reading a lot, and we'll tell you what we know so far, and then we'll tell you what our experience here in Cuenca is. But I'm going to leave this to Ashley to kind of update you, because she's kind of gone into a little bit more studying on the subject.
And I have to say, I was teased after the last video, We've Got Great Friends, about my incorrect assumption that there were many indigenous in Ecuador. But that was from an article we read. So while our information is from articles, who knows if the source, it may not be accurate, but it's as accurate as we know how for it to be.
There you go. Okay.
But anyways.
All right.
So there was this one article starting, and I'm actually going to read a portion of it because I thought it was really interesting. This was from yesterday, that the president believes that the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro and Correa, the previous president who is living in Belgium now, that they are the cause of the riots and of the protests. He says if it was really a protest over gas prices, that it wouldn't be so violent. He believes people are being paid to be violent. He actually says that it is a destabilization plan. They are behind this coup attempt, and they are using and instrumentalizing some indigenous sectors. However, then later on he said what has happened is not a manifestation of social discontent and protest of a government decision. The lootings, vandalism, and violence show there is an organized political move to destabilize the government. So that's what he said yesterday. The U.S. government says there's no proof of anything like that happening. But it's been bad for people.
It has been. He did move down to Guayaquil. He took his political party down to Guayaquil, but then he came back to Quito today, which was good, because there were some statements about how people felt like he abandoned his staff in Quito to deal with this problem on their own. So he went back. But the problems that we want to talk to you about today are what we've experienced and the stories that we've heard, as well as what we've seen here in Cuenca. I know that I mentioned yesterday that where I live, it's quite peaceful, and it really is. I mean, you look out on my front, out of my front, the window in my front part of my house, and the streets are quiet. It's very quiet. There is no violence whatsoever.
And if you pass blocked streets around here, everybody's waving and talking to you and talking about Bible texts. It's been very bizarre.
Right. Yeah. So, but however, we have seen some video footage from our friends that are living in El Centro, and yesterday and today, there's been quite a lot of rioting going on, and tear gas and the such.
And we both had to work this morning. By the time we got out to go to the grocery stores, there were a couple of little tiendas, small stores, privately owned, that were open, but the big supermarkets, there weren't any open.
No, not at all. The one supermarket, and I have a little video that I'll show you. The one supermarket, it's called Super Maxi, and it's kind of an equivalent to like a Safeway, kind of a Safeway in the U.S.
Or a Kroger's, if you're
Kroger's. We got down there, it was totally closed. So that was weird. And then the streets are all empty, and only pedestrians, no cars whatsoever.
And when we stopped for coffee, and the guy at the coffee shop said that they weren't planning on having sandwiches or anything except for coffee tomorrow, because there's no gas in the city, so they're expecting the panaderias to not be able to make bread.
Yeah, so like the propane gas. So that's another thing, is we get our gas by trucks that deliver big cylinder tanks, and they have not been able to deliver because the streets are all closed. So that could be an issue for even the homeowners here, that we will run out of gas. And thank goodness that the water is drinkable here in Cuenca, because we've been able to drink the water. We do have some bottled water, but we have plenty of water.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of stories, not just from where we are. I spoke with Gato again this morning, and he was emotional over the fact that we had rice that he could get to, that he could have. There's not food available in the town that I'm from. I had a family that just moved to Ecuador from California contacting me, asking if this was normal for here, if they should leave with their 4 young children, the youngest of which is barely 3 months old. I mean, it's sad. We've heard of people who don't have enough food. They're rationing it so that they, in some cities, so that they have enough to make it through. They're eating 1 meal a day to be safe.
Right.
We've heard the stories we've heard are terrible.
Right.
Some people are leaving the country, going to Cuba or the U.S. They've decided that this is just too much for them, and they want to be gone.
Right, and one friend that I have, her mother works in the government offices here in Cuenca. We are about 2.5 miles from the actual city center, and that's where my friend's mother works, and she can't get there by car, and yet they're demanding that she work. So she's been walking to work every morning and walking home. And I guess on a couple of occasions she had to walk through riot areas, and she had a reaction to the tear gas, and I guess, they were throwing some kind of Molotov bombs that were homemade. And so, yeah, so it's been pretty bad. There's no trash pickup because the trash trucks can't get here. Now that's really weird for me. I've never experienced anything like that. So the trash is starting to build up around all of Cuenca.
Yeah,
right.
It's all kinds of things like that. And I was looking. There was one more thing in the news. Is everyone you talk to? We've talked to some women who were older that remember some of the past protests. One of them was saying that the worst she remembered was over 20 years ago, but that this was equal to that, and things that are happening. But they still have hope that it's going to end at the longest 2 weeks in total. But there has never been a president quite like this one that is blaming other countries for interfering and saying that there is no way he will give up his presidency, not because of what they're asking for, but because he's saying it's a destabilization plan. And that's pretty scary, because anywhere where someone is unwilling to bend on either side, it could be painful times. Like Gato, he was so emotional when we talked this morning. It's hard on these families. They don't make the money that they can take off from work.
Right.
They don't have ways to get food. Like, we are fortunate. We are in such a good spot. We're in some of the wealthiest, not in the country. There's people wealthier than us, a lot. But that the gringos in general, we have better wages that we make than most people.
Right.
We couldn't think about living on $18 or $20 a day. It would floor us, but that's what the majority of the country does.
Right, right. And so the update as far as me getting out of the country with Barkley, my travel agent, Brian, you'll meet him in another video. He's a dear, and he's been working really hard for me. He was able to get my my KLM ticket changed from yesterday to next Tuesday. It was kind of a process because Barkley had to, they had to okay Barkley again, and okay my bicycle. I mean, my bicycle's in a box that apparently is a problem. And then he's gotten me on he's working on getting me on a plane from Cuenca to Quito. So I've paid extra for my luggage on KLM. Nowadays you have to pay for everything. And I got one check bag for free. I have 2 other bags that each have cost me on KLM, I believe $150 each. So now here comes another charge from the airline that's going to be flying me from Cuenca to Guayaquil. And he told me that, and he didn't have the exact quotes yet. He said that for Barkley, it would be anywhere from $30 to $100 For my bike, it will be $100. For my extra bags, it will be anywhere from $50 to $100.
It's an expensive move.
Oh my
She should've
goodness.
stayed there.
Yeah. So that's the update. I can't think of anything else.
No.
We will give you another update if we feel that need be. Otherwise, you'll be hearing from me when I get on the plane going from Cuenca to Quito, and I'll give you an update with what the travel is like and how I'm actually gonna get out of here.
And who knows, when Vicky is gone, I might be putting up finger puppet videos with her.
Yeah, right.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi, Vicky.
There's a little bit more to that story. But anyway, until another day, we will see you then.
Vicky, we gotta run!